Okay, World Cruisers, here we are. It is Friday, August 9th, 2024, and we are in Kiel, in the port of Kiel, Germany. And this is all you're going to see of Kiel besides a sail out because we took a tour that took us to Lubeck, Germany, which is a more well known town with a lot more ancient history than Kiel has. So we took the bus to about an hour and a half drive. And here we are at the entrance gate to Lubeck, which is hard for you to see from this picture, which I took from the bus window. We'll get closer to it later, but those towers are leaning way towards you and sagging in the middle because when they built them, the outer wall to protect against cannon fire was 9 feet thick, and the wall that's facing towards the city was only 3 feet, so much heavier on one side, and it sagged. So Lubeck is called the city of the seven towers or seven steeples. You can see 5 of them here and a little bit of the 6. There's 2 there, one on the right, and a very small one you can see next to the double steeple there on the right-hand side. But there's 6 of the 7 towers. Laurie told me the other one's gone, so it must have gotten bombed in the war or something. But, okay, so here's the towers we're approaching, and again, because of my camera lens, you can't tell how much those things are leaning, but they're leaning over to the right a lot. Just you can't see it very well in this picture, and it's because of the walls that I talked about a minute ago, with the 9-foot thick walls in the front and the 3-foot thick walls in the back, and the difference in the weight. They claim that it's stabilized now, but I don't know. But these are that's the old main entrance gate to the city of Lubeck, and I don't know why my camera went dark. Looks like it's nighttime in this picture, but I think my camera hiccuped. This is approaching the gate from the front. And again, you can't appreciate how much it's leaning. The camera will get lighter in a minute. This town of Lubeck actually dates back to 1220, and even some in the late 1100s. So it's one of the older cities we've been to, since it does go back to the 1100s. But this entrance, I think, was built in 1477. It's going to show us on the inside. Yeah, 1477. And I guess something was added to it in the 1800s. Everything's made out of brick here. Yeah, 1477 to and then 1874, 1871. Some addition was made. Maybe the 2 towers on top. Anyway, what the city is known for, besides it used to be, I think, the second largest city in Germany way back when. It was the head of the Merchants Guild, the Hanseatic League, and the people here were fairly wealthy. Those buildings on the right that you're going to see more of in a minute were the salt storage warehouses that are just along the river. And this city is a little island that sits on called the Trave River. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's actually an island which we just crossed over onto. And those salt storage warehouses over there are also leaning like crazy. Although again, because of the camera optics, it's hard to see. That skinny one in the middle is leaning way over. It's got more brick rows on one side than the other. I don't know how it ended up that way, but they used to store salt there, which was very important when there were no refrigerators, because that's how they cured food. They could keep the herring good for months when it was stored in salt. So this was Merchant Street, and the reason she took us here was to show us the different styles of architecture that are on the same street there. and I couldn't tell you what they are, but basically they used to store the merchandise on the bottom floor, the dry goods on the upper floors, and I guess they lived up above. But behind these buildings, there used to be a garden plot, which they let eventually people build houses on. And so have to go down these really narrow aisles like this to be able to get into them. So these houses along here don't have any yards, and there's barely a walking path between them because they started out as shacks being built in the garden spaces, and then over the years, people built up the houses. So it'd be very odd to be walk right out your front door into this little skinny alley. But the main streets have the merchant buildings on them, and in between them are these skinny aisles with houses where the workers lived, I guess. Be difficult to get furniture in and out. The passages are so skinny. Anyway, during the war, during World War II, Lubeck was 25% destroyed by the bombs. We went on this street. She wanted to show us the difference between the old buildings and the new buildings. So 25% was bombed by the British in retaliation for the V bombs they sent over against London. So this is St. Peter's Church, and it was pretty much destroyed during the bombing. Uh, and they rebuilt it, but it no longer functions as a church. So you're going to see, I'll take you inside just long enough. You can see it's kind of an exhibition hall now, uh, and not a functional church anymore. But this was totally, pretty much totally destroyed, except for the columns. So they had to rebuild much of it. You can see they have some paintings in here and some weird art exhibitions, but nothing that would really indicate that it was a church anymore. It was originally Catholic and then probably Lutheran after Martin Luther's time was probably Lutheran church. So here now we're in the main square, and that building you see in front of you is the town hall, the one with the gold round gizmos on the front, and then the black building is like meeting rooms and stuff, and that white building is part of the town hall, where they used to have a balcony and people could speak from up there. But and that's St. Mary's church behind, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But this part was heavily bombed during the war, so you can see the town hall was preserved, but there's new buildings all around. And the St. Mary's, again, you can't tell that those towers, they are also leaning out. And they had some kind of a contest. Those are supposed to be the tallest steeples on any church in Germany, I think. And there's another church in town where they were trying to build the tallest steeples, but this one I forgot, it's like 20 meters higher than the other one. But if you look at the architecture here, it's got flying buttresses. The guys from Germany went over and saw the churches in France and Italy and decided to come back here and make one with flying buttresses like the ones they'd seen over in the other parts of Europe. This is the front of the building, which they don't actually use. The main entrance is in the side. So we had lunch at the place called a Ratskeller, which is defined as a restaurant in the basement of the town hall. Rathaus is the word for town hall, and Ratskeller is a restaurant in the basement. This one has been in operation since 1220. And so we stopped in here. We had some pork schnitzel, and we had some bratwurst and sauerkraut, and it was really good. It's ended up being more like a foodie tour for us. There was this bakery also on the town square we stopped at and bought really an obscene amount of stuff. That plum cake there is like what my grandmother used to make, so I got some of that. Some of the cherry cake and cinnamon rolls. I think we bought way more than we should have, but it was really good. Excellent. Now, the next thing you're seeing is that's the other part of Kiel. So the only part of Kiel that you'll see because we didn't do any touring in that city. But this is the sail out back into the Baltic Sea. We're pretty much sailing straight north. Stay tuned tomorrow. We'll be in Copenhagen, Denmark, and we'll give you another video of our adventures there. But this is sailing back out into the Baltic. So we'll see you tomorrow.